let's look deeper into electrolytic cell. Electrolytic cell is where you convert electrical energy into chemical energy through a battery usually or through a power source. Your cell phone battery, you are recharging the battery. So, it behaves as an electrolytic cell. In an electrolytic cell, the current you pass is going to get converted to the preferential chemical reaction. Here, this is where there is a theory preferential discharge. So, the reaction that is happening, for example, let us say you have a container, there is a lot of OA and RA, you pass current. Electrolytic cell, you have to know which one is going to get oxidized, which one is going to get reduced in comparison to all the other species present. So, the one that is going to get oxidized or reduced will always have the lowest energy. Okay, this is how it is going to be. Now, when you take an electrolytic cell, you are basically going to pass current, your anode, cathode. So, what flows from anode to cathode? It's always going to be the electrons. What flows from cathode to anode is always going to be the current. This is common regardless of galvanic cell or electrolytic cell. The only difference is in the electrolytic cell, this is going to be positive, this is going to be negative. The sign alone is opposite for a galvanic cell, but this is common for both of them. This is cathode, anode, negative, positive. Okay. In an electrolytic cell, you can have the anode and cathode, both of them as the same metal. What happens is, when you have it as the same metal, the metal dissolves from anode, gets coated on the cathode. You can use this for purifying. For example, this is your impure gold that you got from your jewelry, and you can coat it on an electrode to get a pure gold out of it. Let's say this is 18 karat, you can make it a 24 karat. You can do electrolysis to do this. Now, what happens is the weight of the anode always goes down, weight of a cathode goes up. Cathode and anode are same. So, if it is, let's say for example, copper becomes copper 2 plus becomes copper. So, unlike our galvanic cell, in an electrolytic cell, concentration of the species is close to constant. Ignoring other factors, it is going to be close to constant because it is going to be regenerated at the same rate, and the cell is completely connected. Now, what all questions they can ask you is two parts. One is conceptual based, the other one is Faraday's law. Conceptual based is basically weight is decreased, weight is increased, all those things they can give you. Okay. They can also ask you Faraday's law in terms of your amount of stuff deposited. For example, I can tell you the area of the electrode and I calculate how much of the metal is deposited at the cathode. Faraday's first law says, in an electrolytic cell, when you pass current, the amount of or the weight of the substance deposited is proportional to the charge you pass. So, W is proportional to Q. Q is coulombs. So, it can be written as IT. I is the current in amperes, time is in seconds. It has to be in seconds, this has to be in amperes. So, amperes times seconds gives you coulomb. Now, we can take the proportionality constant away and given a symbol Q. Z is nothing but electrochemical equivalent. So, this is Faraday's first law. The electrochemical equivalent is nothing but, when is this equal? When Q equals 1. So, electrochemical equivalent is the amount of metal or species deposited on passing 1 ampere of current for 1 second. So, 1 ampere of current for 1 second. So, 1 times 1 is 1. So, that is the definition of an electrochemical equivalent. So, this is your Faraday's first law. Our first law says the weight of the metal deposited is proportional to the charge you are going to. Faraday's second law says if you pass the same amount of charge to different cells containing different species, the mass of the metal deposited in different cases will be a simple ratio of their equivalent weight. For example, I have two different cells. Let's say in cell 1 I deposit my copper, cell 2 I deposit my gold. From our first law we know that W equals Z times Q. Now if I pass 96,500, 1 Faraday, Z times 96,500 or 1 Faraday. If I pass that, the weight that you deposit is 1 equivalent, meaning it is your equivalent weight. So that tells you Z equals equivalent weight divided by F, 96,485. You can use it as 500. Now, what we can do, we can resubstitute this and say, right, W equals Z equals EW by F times Q, or equivalent weight times IT over F is W. So this is the integrated first and second law together. You will be using this to calculate the amount of weight of your metal deposited, provided you pass so much current, whatever its equivalent weight is. We can write this also, expand this as molecular weight times I times T divided by N factor times F. Molecular weight by N factor is nothing but your equivalent weight. So this formula has come many times, pattern based on this. They may give you everything but ask you equivalent weight, or they can give you molecular weight. Also you might know the N factor, they can ask you what is the weight deposited. Let's look into the second law even more. So we just had W equals, we have our first law ZIT or equivalent weight times IT over F. Now a couple of things we want to know is the moles of electron that you are doing, moles of electron that you have passed or gained is your IT over F. This is something that you want to remember. It is going to be useful to do a lot of problems. Moles of electron is going to be IT over F. Why this is important is, if IT and F are given, you don't know how to use this formula. If the question is complicated, IT and F are given, extremely simple. If I know moles of electron, let's say for example, copper 2 plus 2 electron gives you copper 0, Au 3 plus 3 electron gives you Au 0. So if I know moles of electron, for example, let's say X mole electron passed. What we know is 2 mole electrons gives you 1 mole copper 0. So X mole will give you X by 2 mole copper 0. Here it will be X by 3 mole copper, Au 0. If I were to take silver, 1 Eg plus will take only 1 electron, so it will be X moles silver. So this is simple. Why would I do this when I have the straight away formula? This is useful when they are asking you to compare two different species. When you compare two different species, one of them can be given as a gas. When you have it as a gas, it becomes a little bit tricky. That's when this is going to be useful if you understand how to calculate moles of electrons. If the question pattern is extremely straightforward, you are depositing one metal versus the another metal, the pattern could be how much of metal 2 can be deposited with the same charge that I deposit with metal 1, so much of metal 1. For example, 0.1 gram copper is deposited, how many grams of gold can be deposited? They can ask you this. This is extremely simple. If you get a pattern like this, all we know is the weight deposited is proportional to equivalent weight. From Faraday's law we know. So we can say W2 by W1 equals equivalent weight 2 divided by equivalent weight 1. Now where do I get this? W2 or W equals equivalent weight times IT over F, or W is proportional to equivalent weight. So hence W2 by W1 equals E2 by E1. So in our case, weight of copper divided by weight of gold equals equivalent weight of copper divided by equivalent weight of gold. Now they will give you the molecular weight. So if I take this as my 2, this is my 1. So this is my gold, this is my copper. So what is my equivalent weight of copper? Molecular weight of copper 68.5, which they will give you, divided by our copper is going from Cu 2 plus to Cu 0, so 2 electron process, whereas gold is 3 plus, so this is going to be molecular weight by 3. So this pattern has come many times, just jump into the straightforward thing because everything else cancels out. So this is simple. The other pattern they can ask you is solid deposited versus gas liberated. This is a common pattern. They can tell you amount of solid deposited. We can do the same, but I don't have the equivalent weight of gas liberated. The most common gas liberated is O2. You want to remember this equation. H2O liquid on electrolysis gives you O2 plus H plus plus electron. Alright, now we can make it as 2H2O. I have 1 O2, 4H plus. Now if you look into oxygen, oxygen was at a charge 0. Oxygen was at a charge -2, going to oxygen at a charge 0. So each oxygen is 2 electron process. 2 oxygen is 4 electron process. You want to remember this equation and you want to remember it is 4 electrons. So how can I relate the solid deposited versus gas liberated? They can tell you two different ways. How much of the solid is deposited with the same amount of current that liberates so many moles of O2. So let's say for example they are giving you moles of O2. I have moles of O2. I can convert this to moles of electrons. 1 mole of O2 is 4 electrons. So I can multiply by 4. Now I have moles of electron. I can convert this to moles of metal. For example, if it is copper, that is divided by 2 because each copper 0 needs 2 electron. If it's gold, I need 3 electron divided by 3. So moles of M2, grams of M. Now they can also give you, instead of moles of O2, they can give you milliliters of O2. So let's say for example milliliters of O2. They'll give you STP. So I can convert this to moles O2 using molar volume. Convert this to liters and then divided by 22.4 will give you the moles O2. You can do the same. The other pattern is, they may tell you how much moles of O2 is liberated with the same amount of current that deposits so many grams of, let's say, copper. So I have grams of copper, convert to moles of copper, convert to moles electron, convert to moles O2, convert to this. Let's look into a problem based on this.
Let's practice some previous year problems based on Faraday's law. Here is a question that came in NEET phase 2 in 2016. NEET was held twice. So this came in the second phase of it. They are asking about, during electrolysis of molten sodium chloride, the time required to produce 0.1 mole of chlorine gas. So here you need to know your sodium chloride equation, molten sodium chloride. So this is not aqueous sodium chloride, this is molten sodium chloride. When you do electrolysis, this is the reactions that happen in cathode and anode. In the cathode you have your sodium liberated as a metal and anode is chlorine. Here they are talking about chlorine only, 0.1 mole of chlorine. So they are looking at right here. So you see, for every 1 mole of chlorine there is 2 moles of electrons. So 1 mole chlorine equals 2 moles electrons. And I've already taught you guys that moles electron equals IT over F. That implies, in our case, 2 moles electron would be, I is 3 amperes. They are talking about time divided by F. That implies T equals 2 times 96,485 divided by 3. Now this is going to be in seconds. If you want it in minutes, you do divided by 60. You can take 96,485 as 96,600. It will be easier for you. Times 96,600 divided by 3 times 60. So now here we have, I'm just dividing by 6. That's going to be 1, 6, 1. So 2 times 161, that is going to be 322 divided by 3. Roughly that is 110 minutes. It's as simple as that. The only caveat in this whole setup is making sure you get your moles right. Electrochemistry stops right there, then it is pure math. But math is something where you should be comfortable with doing the number, particularly this 96,485. It comes in various forms. The numbers that you can use are 96,485 can be approximated as 96,500, 96,600 or 1 lakh, depending on your convenience, but make sure that accordingly you round up your number. See how far these numbers are. There is no way you're going to have a mistake by rounding up only this much. This question came in the same paper. The number of electrons delivered at cathode during electrolysis by a current of 1 ampere in 60 seconds. So here they are talking about number of electrons. So moles electron equals IT over F. Our I is going to be 1 ampere, T is going to be 60 seconds divided by 96,500. So this is the moles of electron. The number of electron equals moles of electron times Avogadro number. So we have this times 6 times 10 to the 23rd. So what we can do here, 1 0 is gone, 1 is gone. We can actually take this whole thing as 96,600. So 1 0 is gone, here 1 is gone, so I'll take it as 22. Now what we can do by 6. So we just did it in the previous problem. This is going to be 1, 6, 1. Now this is what we have. We can actually do this multiple ways. So let me simplify it. I have 6 times 10 to the 22nd divided by 160. You can do it multiple ways, so maybe I can even make this as 21. 6 by 16 is roughly, we can write it as 5 by 15 times 10 to the 21. So this is 1 by 3, or roughly 3 times 10 to the 20. 3 is roughly 3.75. Now if you see, these are the two competitions you have. If you were to do more accurately, you'll be able to get the answer. Okay, again what I have done is just basic calculations, rounding this up. Now make sure how you round up. You have rounded this up, right? You made it higher, so the number you're going to get is lower. So you just have to go a little bit above, right there, this option. In 2014, they have asked the weight of silver displaced by a quantity of electricity which displaces so much of O2. So this is the question I was talking about, where they relate two different cells, completely unrelated. They are related by only one quantity. The moles of electron in this cell is same as moles of electron in this cell. Now, a traditional way of doing it is this formula that we have seen. If we were to do it through this is what we end up getting. We can also do it differently. I like to do it in a different way, understanding moles of electrons. So if you were to do moles of electrons, let's see, for example, I have told you this, O2, 4 electrons I have asked you to remember. So I have 56,000 mil, moles O2 will be the volume divided by molar volume. Molar volume is 22,400 mil or 22.4 liters. So this is going to be 1 by 4 moles O2. That equals 1 mole electron, because 1 mole O2 is 4 electron. 1 by 4 moles is 1 electron. 1 mole electron will deposit 1 mole Ag, because Ag plus going to Ag, only 1 electron process. 1 mole Ag is molecular mass 108 grams Ag. It's much simpler than doing this, unnecessarily doing complicated math. Hence I told you, if you go back to the lecture, I told you guys it is better to understand the moles of electrons so we can always compare. So the setup is always going to be, if you have let's say cell A compared to cell B, get moles A or moles B, whatever is given, they are related through moles of electron. In our case, they gave oxygen. I converted to moles of oxygen, moles of electron, moles of silver, grams of silver. If I give you grams of silver, I can calculate the moles of oxygen and then I can convert it to molar volume of oxygen or grams of oxygen, however it need be. In 2013, they have asked the grams of cobalt metal deposited when a solution of cobalt chloride is electrolyzed with a current of 10 amperes on 109 minutes. This is straightforward. They are asking you grams, so we know the formula. Straightforward, W equals ZIT, Z is the electrochemical equivalent written as E by F, E is the equivalent weight which is written as molecular weight divided by N factor. So this is the final formula that we had, correct? So now what all do we know? We know the molar weight mass of cobalt 59, I is given as 10 amperes, T is 109 minutes converted to seconds, N factor is 2 because cobalt 2 chloride. So cobalt 2 plus 2 electron gives the cobalt. F is something we know. If you calculate it, you can take it as 96,600 and you can do it. It's easier. So it is going to be roughly 20 grams. We'll do a last problem. Aluminum oxide is reduced. So we have also seen aluminum oxide in delta G problem in electrochemistry. Here it is basically reduced at low potential and high current. If so many amperes is passed for so much time, what is the mass of aluminum? So first thing we want to do is get the equation for aluminum. This is the equation that I have. Now what we can do is, we want the mass. Mass equals your molar mass IT over N factor times F. Molar mass of aluminum is 27 times your I is 4 times 10 to the power 4 amperes times time is 6 hours converted to minutes converted to seconds divided by N factor is 3 because aluminum is 3 plus going to Al0. F is going to be 96,600. Now we can see, we can take this off. If I do this, I get the same 161. Now if I assume it as 160, this is 40, this has become 9. So if I simplify this, I have 9 times 36 times 10 to the power 4 divided by 40. Now we can do 4 tables here. This is 9, this is 10, 10 is gone. So I have 81 times 10 to the power 3 or 8.1 times 10 to the power 4 grams. Again, this math is something where I am doing it because I have done it so many times that I can easily see how it's going to get cancelled out. See how many times this has come for you. 60, 96,600. I take this away. This is going to be 1 here, 36 means 6, roughly 1 0. If you take one more 0, 161. This has come so many times. If you can remember this, it is going to get a lot easier. As you see, we went through so many problems so fast. Faraday's law is extremely simple. Same pattern comes. Very simple. Math is a little bit harder than what you're used to, but still easier with practice. The only key here is knowing the electrons. The electrons is going to determine your N factor or moles electron. If you are able to do it, Faraday's law is extremely simple. I have solved pretty much all the electrochemistry problems spread out over different lectures. I would say you guys practice it yourself and solve JEE Mains PYQ. You should be alright for both the exams.
Okay, now that we have seen your electrochemical cells, both the galvanic and your electrolytic cell, the only thing that is remaining is solving your previous year questions. Just solve the previous year questions last 15 years from NEET and JEE Mains. You will see that same questions, sometimes the same numbers, same species are being repeated. The more you get familiar, imagine the importance of being familiar. You have a tough question in NEET, you are not able to get the answer, but the next question sounds familiar, meaning your tempo goes up. So it's going to be a lot easier if you know the pattern. So solve them. I'll post a video series of the solution for the important ones. Try to look into that. It's not enough to look into that. Solve it one more time by yourself and you will get there.